Marijuana, a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States. A drug that has gained notoriety in the 60s and is still popular today. The drug has once again emerged as a hot-button topic with the added push to legalize it in some states for medicinal purposes and the production of hemp. The legalization of marijuana, whether for medicinal use or hemp growth, presents serious challenges to Kentucky's law enforcement. To distinguish what would be grown and or possessed for legal use versus illegal use would prove to be difficult, making our enforcement efforts less efficient and less effective. Currently, 14 states have passed laws allowing the drug to be used for that purpose. Kentucky is not one of those states. Marijuana itself is a polarizing topic in the United States and elsewhere. On one side, you have those who want to legitimize the drug, and on the other, you have those who want to wipe it from the planet. Today, we're taking you along with us for an inside view of how Kentucky State Police combat illegal marijuana growing operations. The Cannabis Suppression Branch is responsible for detection of indoor and outdoor marijuana cultivation and oversees the statewide seasonal marijuana suppression teams. You will see how we prepare our teams, how we train them, and what their daily duties consist of during an eradication detail, commonly called ERAD. The training starts early. Prior to the marijuana harvest season, troopers are hand-selected from around the Commonwealth to join forces with other law enforcement agencies to take on the task of marijuana eradication, leaving their families and homes for months at a time. The Cannabis Suppression Branch, familiar with the dangers these guys face, put them through rigorous training to get them up to speed. These hills and plots are worth a lot to local drug dealers, and they guard them with everything from dogs to IEDs like the military sees in Iraq.
They're hooked up to a little bit bigger charges that are out here, about like that.
The steel pipe bomb that we showed you guys with the 4-inch steel with the white stuff in it, that's what was inside it.
The rough Kentucky terrain poses difficult tasks for KSP members. Hidden away in the dense vegetation, marijuana growers hide plots of plants in the trees, hoping to hide their lucrative crops from law enforcement officers who are out to stop them. And standing in their way are these guys. Searching the woods would be impossible. KSP calls on the help of helicopters as their eye in the sky. Troopers spend uncounted hours being trained to spot plots from far above.
The shadow is just ahead of the plot. The shadow is above it, right there.
And once spotted, the GPS coordinates are radioed to the ground team, who then move in. With help from the choppers, they direct troopers to the located plot. Often, the road ends before they can reach their destination, so troopers use ATVs, and when the ATVs can't help, there's always old-fashioned manpower. And if that doesn't work, troopers will use Black Hawk helicopters to rappel into the plots. Within a few minutes of being in the air, several plots have already been discovered. This is when the GPS coordinates will be given to the ground team and they will move in.
In each area and each grower, they'll have their own little ways that they particularly want to grow. Some will grow up high on the mountain, some will grow low. Some guys, there's always going to be they try to get close to a water source, or they'll make their own water source. They'll dig a reservoir, line it with plastic, and they'll have rainwater come in there. Because ultimately, if you have dry summer like we've had, you're going to have to carry water to it. It's got to have water or it dies and wilts. This particular grower here, he's planting his stuff down the river. The river's just over the hill here. He's that's what his bucket's for. Pulls that bucket up here and waters his plants. So it's got to have water, it's got to have sunlight. And the nutrients which comes from the soil, he's got a fertilizer bag right over there that's underneath the little rock. He'll throw a little fertilizer on it, and he'll try to take care of it.
When you're this far out, fast food is not an option. Days are long, and troopers do not have access to modern conveniences in the woods, but they have learned to improvise.
We ate cold sandwiches there for a little bit. Got real sick of those the first week, so after that they started designating me as a cook.
Oh, he's a good cook. He's a good cook.
The first day we had hot dogs, it was like I cooked filet mignon. Everybody was tickled to death to get a hot meal instead of eating a cold turkey sandwich or ham sandwich or some peanut butter and crackers.
A lot of people ask us, why do you put so much emphasis on marijuana? They don't understand the bigger picture, that there's a whole criminal syndicate associated with these marijuana grows.
This dope grower may package his marijuana up and trade it for pills. He may trade it for firearms. He may trade it for heroin, which is coming back in Eastern Kentucky, or some other kind of drug. And the profitability for this right here is so much greater than the other drugs, because what does he have invested?
Yeah, $20.
He's got some seed, some fertilizer, and Mother Nature. And he has very little invested in this other than his hard work and his effort, really.
I grew up in Harlan County back in in the 80s, and there was a time, as a kid growing up in Harlan, it was commonplace that you knew, it was an understood, unwritten rule that you didn't need to be going four-wheeling, being in the woods, messing around during certain times of the year. As I got older, what you start realizing is, especially as you become a trooper, that we were being held hostage in our own community and we didn't even know it. So what this detail's been able to do is return the public lands back to the public, because it's not always been that way. There's story after story after story. You can find people who ran into people armed in the woods years ago on the Daniel Boone National Forest and were told they had to leave.
It don't matter where they grow it, what hillside they put it on. We got truck power, Humvee power, ATV power, and boot power. We're going to find it and we're going to get it out of these hills.
We hope you've enjoyed this inside look at our cannabis suppression branch. These teams do amazing work in very challenging situations. Last year, they removed over 400,000 marijuana plants through their ERAD operation. As Lieutenant Roper said, this project is not just about removing marijuana, it's about taking back our land. You can help us do that too. KSP has a toll-free hotline that is completely confidential. Citizens like yourself can call in tips or information about illegal activity to 1-800-DOPE-TIP. That's 1-800-DOPE-TIP. Or you can go to our website at www.kentuckystatepolice.org and complete a tip form and send it to your local KSP post.